Hello there everyone, my name is Daniel. I run a web shop in Denmark that's called Nordic Anglers. Today we're tying a salmonfly, and this is not just any given salmonfly. This is the Pahtakorva, one of the most famed salmonflies throughout Northern Europe. It's a pattern made by a guy called Michael Frodin, who is probably one of the most experienced salmon anglers in all of Northern Europe. And this is one of his best patterns. So I've tried to keep this as close to how he does it. It's a really awesome pattern. It fishes well throughout the season. Today we're doing it at a relatively big size for the opening of Norway. But of course, as soon as you've seen how to tie this, you can scale this down any way you like, and or you can mix things up as much as you like, as long as you keep this color scheme, because the color scheme here with the fiery brown and gold and orange is just have become a truly legend color scheme here in for salmon all over. So now we're gonna tie the Pahtakorva, and of course, as always, we have the full material kit, easy and ready for you to buy at Nordic Anglers. Here goes. Var det fedt det der? Here we go, the Pahtakorva, as close to Frodin as you can get. So in order to do this the right way, and how Michael designed it, we're going to use two different sizes of tubes of the Frodin tube fly system. We're going to use the X small and then also the medium, because the X small fits inside the medium. So the colors of the first one is not that is not that important, but if you leave a bit of this like I have here for as a place for your hook guide, then of course use perhaps a brownish one. It will fit with the color scheme here. But the trick is to cut away so it kind of tapers here. There you go. And then you can basically just add the smaller dimension tube into the larger dimension one. Oh, we don't need all of this, so I'm going to cut away some of the small tube as well. There we go. And then I'm going to add them to my tube fly needle. There we have it. What we do now is then we take the tying thread and we tie on the section where they are joined, and then we apply some pressure. This will collapse the outer diameter tube and make it latch onto the inner tube. Then we tie all the way down to where we want to start the fly. And this of course defines how big the fly you're gonna make is gonna be. So I think about this size is ideal. And then we're going to cut the thread away. The first thing we need is a tag, and for this I'm going to use some mylar tinsel in opal. There we go. Just make sure that you tie this all the way around underneath the body, because basically we need to have as even a body as possible for this fly, because we're gonna use some flat braid for the actual body. There we go. Now I have made the tag, or the butt of the fly, and then we need a tail. And I just did this video in Danish, so I have a perfect lined up bundle of the fluorofiber, and I'm just gonna tie this on top here. There we go. Now this of course, as you can see, is quite abrupt, and so in order to do better than that, I want to taper this. So I'm going to cut while I move the scissor backwards. To taper it, I'm going to do the same from above, and then you'll have a nice and tapering tail here, like we want with the wing. This is of course not a small fly, so you can make a small variation of this, but then perhaps you should tie on a different tube system, or do this a bit differently. But you can do it in a smaller size on this as well. Then I'm going to take some of the Pahtakorva brown flat braid, and I'm going to tie a bundle of this down along with everything else. So as I move my tying thread up to where the actual body of this is gonna stop, then I will have everything tied along with me here, and this will make a more even body, making it easier for me to tie the actual. This is in regards to the width of the body here. So we're not gonna have on salmon flies like this that has a two-part body. Then it's in order to get the proportions and stuff good, then you need to have a slightly longer front part of the body than you have that you have the first section of the body. Then I'm gonna turn my flat braid and try to get this, and you can see how easy it is for me to make a body now that is very elegant and very much uniform in density and in thickness. If I'd used too many turns of the tying thread down here, then I would have had a hump back there that would have not looked very, very good. Perfect. Gonna cut away the leftover. Now a lot of things is going to happen. We need to tie in a hackle, a body hackle. We need to tie also a rib, and then a dubbing loop for the actual black dubbing that's going to go on here. Take my hackle here, tie this in the tip, because this is the one I'm going to turn the last. There we go. Then I'm going to use some gold rib in medium. You could use smaller as well, but the medium is fine. And because it's now a dubbing body we're going to have up across here, just make sure that you're tied really, really close to where the hackle is. Then it doesn't matter if we're going to cover this with tying thread, so just cut leftovers off. Because a dubbing body is fairly easy to manipulate and to use. Then we do not need to care as much in regards to the amount of tying thread that we're using on here. So I made my dubbing loop, put that off to the side, and then I'm going to locate my Smain dubbing twister. Gonna attach my Smain dubbing twister like so. Now I can open and close my dubbing loop at will. Gonna add some Midnight Salmon Supreme dubbing. It has a nice shine and kind of almost bluish hue to it that I like a lot. Oh, it turned a bit on me. Gonna add the dubbing here to the loop. And of course, if you want this to taper, you want ideally to have the least material as close to the start, and then it should gradually be denser and denser. Just look at the dubbing reel go. It's just truly a thrill to work with tools like this. Shout out to Stig. This is a Danish guy who makes these, and he's actually quite often here in the shop. We have a bit more, not we, because I don't want to take credit, but he bounces off ideas of me every now and then, and there are some great stuff coming up. Like you can see, my part, the part of the body here that is dubbing is longer. You know, the tag is shortest, then the next part is a bit longer, then the next part is a bit longer still. And if you want to have, you know, the ideal, optimized, perfectly looking ratio of this, then of course the percentage that the body increases should be about the same. And that's something you cannot measure, but you can see that with your eyes. And I think I actually came pretty close here. The dimension, you know, the percentage of this is longer than this is almost the same as this is longer than that. And that's just going to make an aesthetically pleasing fly to look at for your eyes. It's not going to be something I think the salmon is going to take too seriously, but you know, you can, when we're doing this, why not strive to make, you know, as good as and as aesthetically pleasing finished result as possible. Also, when you're doing a rib on a section of body like this, then 3 turns is the ideal when it comes to, you know, pleasing the eye. And also in regards to the rules of old school fly tying and stuff, then that is the same as well. I'm gonna turn the hackle here just behind the rib all the way up to the front, and then up here I'm gonna turn it a few, just 1 or 2 turns up here. And now we've moved on to the no, this is enough. The hackle stem is gonna be too thick. We're gonna have another hackle anyway, so this is fine. Now we've moved up to the smaller dimension of the tube here. There we go. Cut away the hackle stump, and then of course you can pull out some of the dubbing to give this a more translucent looking body. I'm really pleased with the result of this so far. It looks completely like I want it to. I'm going to use my dubbing brush to force the hackles and stuff backwards. The current is going to do that as well, of course, but it's just, when we're doing it, why not do it right? Also, not many fibers I'm going to cut off, but still. Perfect. Now we're gonna, the next step is to add the first wing, and for this we need a fiery brown marble fox. And the marble fox I have in the store has, first of all, it has completely the right color for this, and also it's very long, and it's absolutely ideal for this. We have developed this really spend a lot of time on finding exactly the right shade of brown for this fly, and for, of course, the vanlia and a lot of other patterns. But this reddish hued kind of brown is ideal. This wing should not be as big as the next one, and we're gonna pull out some of the longer hairs here, not all of them, but a few of them. And then the first wing you attach should be just slightly longer than the tail. Just slightly longer than the tail. Yeah, that's just perfect. Perfect. Gonna cut away all the hairs that we don't need that are pointing forward, and then I'm gonna take another of the red, orange rooster hackles. This is Coq de Lion, and I like this because it's badger. So the Coq de Lion is really good suited for this fly. Because it has that kind of burnt orange-ish glow to it that just fits so well into the color scheme of the Pahtakorva. We're turning the hackle here. Give it a bit more bulk. Give it a bit more of that drop shape we're all looking for. There we go. Now, that is a done deal. As you can see, I'm careful not to use too much tying thread again now, because for this part of the fly we want to be able to attach the cone head in the end. That's it. And then we're gonna apply the second wing of the same material as the first one, of the marble fox in fiery brown. One could almost call it Pahtakorva brown, but it's fiery brown. Just take care of your materials and the selection of these when you're making a wing like this. I removed a bit, and then I'm gonna remove some of the woolly hairs as well, because we want a long but not too dense wing that has all of the longer fibers here, because they are gonna be so alive in the water and make the perfect drop shape for the fly here. Let's see if this is. Oh, that looks good. And we're gonna make this longer again than the first one. Fastening the wing. Yeah, there it is. And cut away all that you don't need. And now we're gonna add a bit of flesh. I use some angel hair. This is some reddish, goldish color. There is a lot of different variations of these out there, but you know, anything that kind of fits into the color scheme of this will do. Adding this to the top of the fly. And as always with this angel flesh, it's easy to remove if you do not want it on the fly, but you cannot add it. So I added maybe a bit more than what I would, you know, actually use, but I can always remove it on the water if I think it's too much. It's easy to basically just pull off your fly again. But it just looks, along with this really alive marble fox wing, it just makes this fly really come together. Then the finishing touch for the wing part is of course some of these ostrich. No, this is not ostrich. This is peacock curls. And I think 4 will do. I'm carefully selecting those that has the best tapering and without cut tips. And I'm placing these so they're not completely uniform in length, but approximately the same length. And these should be just ever so slightly longer than the wing. They will make some contrast and some natural flash effect to the fly. Meld into the wing and just give it that look of awesomeness. You know, this fly kind of have some of the feel of the old classical flies, where the general principle was that, you know, salmon was the king, and kings, like, you know, they like their gold, they like their pomp and their glory. So nothing was good enough for the king. You had to just pile on all the hardest to come by items from all over the world in order to make the perfect, you know, the fly worthy of a king. And this fly has kind of a bit of the same feel, but it's just made of modern materials, of course, so it will swim great as well. I'm gonna use some of the jungle cock now. This is a small. Perhaps I should use a larger one. It will do. Add this to the sides, but it depends on how big you prefer these to be. I'm gonna add these two to the sides here. go, there where the jungle cock added. Just one more turn of the tying thread, and then we need to add the last of the hackles. And for this, Mikael uses something called spade plums, which is basically some small ostrich plumes that is really just insanely alive in the water, but also add a lot of bulk and a lot of density to the fly here. I'm gonna try this feather here. I'm not sure that this is the right one. I have two different to choose from, and if I don't like how this particular feather looks, I'm gonna remove it and then try with the other one, because they're quite different. This is quite a lot more fluffy than this one is, but I think this maybe is a bit short. I don't know. I'm gonna try it, and I'll do a redo if this does not turn out the way I intended to. Just tie on top of the head here, and as you can see, we have not a big head, but a head that is going to have a bit of difficulties fitting the cone head over, and we're going to compensate by turning the hackle on top of this first 1 or 2 turns. And then we're going to move the hackle down to the thinner tube and make the last turn or 2 here. Tie down the hackle and cut away the hackle stump. Fold everything back carefully, and now you can see, now I have a really small head here. I'm gonna make a whip finish, and then I'm gonna attach the cone head as the completely finishing touch, and then the Pahtakorva is done. You can see there is just a slight piece of the hackle there. Just gonna see how that looks with this cone head. It looks absolutely perfect. So I'm gonna hang that off to the side, and then take my Sabber Gap. I need to get a new one. This is the viscosity of this is out of this world. I think I must have left it open at some point or something, but it still gets the job done. There we go. Push the cone head as far back as you can. There it is, the Pahtakorva. Of course, we need to remove it from the vise here. I think this is a bit too long, so I'm gonna cut this away. You can use this as a hook guide if you want. You can cut it away and then melt it, and the same in the front here. I'm gonna cut away the tube. Oh, and of course the Frodin cone heads are made from Wolfram, from tungsten, which makes this fly have a lot of weight in the front of it, and this will have the effect that your fly will start fish the second it hits the water, but it also have the effect that the fly will have a counterweight to the actual hook you're fishing, so it will have it easier time. It won't you know. The end of the fly will not be the end of the fly will not be down in the water. Basically, it will be more level in the water as it swings across the current. But it's a big fly. It's a nice fly, and there you have it, the Pahtakorva. Hope you enjoyed that. The finished fly, the Pahtakorva, as I said, is amongst the greatest and most widely used salmon flies for for salmon, of course. Remember, we have the full material kit for this fly and all the other flies here on our YouTube channel, so you can easily just go to Nordic Anglers, and with one click you can buy all the materials you need to tie this fly. So I urge you to if you're going to fish for salmon, then this is one of the go-to flies you should never leave home without. So swing by Nordic Anglers and get all the fly fishing equipment and materials you would ever need. Thank you a lot for watching, and as always, I wish you the best of luck out on the water.